Hello everyone, welcome to this video on file handling in Python. In this video, you will learn what is file handling, why we need file handling, types of files, types of operations on file, how does file handling works, and file handling example. Very first thing, what is a file handling in Python? So file handling allows user to handle files, that is to read and write to the files along with many other file handling options to operate on file like updating the file, deleting a file and many other operations. So next is why we need file handling in Python. All we know that a Python program accepts input in a different way. Some of the most common ways a Python program accepts input are keyboard, command line, database and file. As far as our input is small and we don't want to store the input permanently, keyboard and command line options are best one. And if we have a large amount of relational data, then database like SQL or Oracle are the best options. But say, for example, if we have a program that may require to read more than 10,000 IP addresses, or we have a program that reads millions of text records, or we have a configuration data file, and we want to read this data as and when required, then file is the best option for storing such data. And that is why we need a file handling mechanism in Python. So what we do is we store all this data in a text file, and then Python program can read that file as and when required. And then again, if required, if the file is modified or updated, or if required, it may be deleted, a new file is created. That is why the file handling concept in Python is very useful. Now, what are the different types of files in Python? In Windows or Linux or Mac OS operating system, we have seen different types of files like image file, text file, video file, executable file, audio file. But when it comes to the Python programming or say C or Java programming, there are two types of files, that is binary file and text file. So very first thing, let me tell you what is a binary. So binary files are usually thought of as being a sequence of bytes, which means a binary digits or bits are grouped in 8s, and compiled computer programs are typical examples of binary, and sometimes compiled applications are referred to by programmers as a binary files, whereas text file is a kind of computer file that is structured as a sequence of line of text, and every line is ended with a new line character or EOL character. And these are the four types of operations that we can perform on file, that is creating a file, reading a file, updating a file or deleting a file. And now let me tell you how file handling works in Python. So there are four steps in file handling: creating a file, then after creating file, we can open the file for reading, writing or updating it. And once the file is open, we can perform the required operation. And once the operation or work with that particular file is completed, we can close that file. Now for creating or opening a file, there is a function open in Python. And now let us look at open function in little bit detail. So syntax of open function is like this. Name of the function is open and it takes two parameters. First parameter is a file name and second parameter is a mode of operation. So first parameter is nothing but the file which we want to open for reading or writing or updating. Here are the four different modes of operation. So R means read mode, means open a file for reading, and if the file does not exist, then it will give error. Second mode is append mode, and we can specify append mode by simply a single letter A. Here we have specified the read mode by just specifying the letter R. Same way we can specify append mode by specifying letter A over here in single or double quote. So append means open a file for appending, and it creates a file if the file does not exist. And write mode by using letter W, and it opens a file for writing and it creates a file if it does not exist. Means when we open a file and if that file does not exist, it will also create a file. It will not only perform write operation, but it creates a new file also. And the fourth mode is create mode. The mode is specified using the alphabetical letter X, and it creates a specified file which we have specified as a first argument and returns an error if that file already exists. So this is all about the syntax of open and the modes of file. Now here is a simple program to read content of file and print the file and then finally closing the file. The very first line, we have a function f with two arguments. very first one, the name of the file means we want to read content from my file.txt file, and here is a mode of operation, and this will open a file. This function will open the file my file.txt, and it will store handle of this file in variable f, and using this handle f we can read the content of this particular file. And here we have specified f.read as the argument to the print function. It will read and then print the content of the file. And finally, we are closing that file using the file handle f.close function. Now let us switch to PyCharm just to demonstrate how we can read, print and close the file. So this is a PyCharm editor. Let us first open a file by f is equal to open, and here first argument we have to specify, we have to read content from my file.txt, and we want to read content, so we have specified r, and then we want to read content from this file. So here we can see that these are the different functions for reading data. So right now we will use read function only, so this will read the content. Now as we want to print this content directly, I can write like this, data is equal to this one, and then I can print that data, print data. And finally, after printing the data, what we can do, we can close the file like this. So this is a complete program for opening a file, reading that file. We have already created this file, myfile.txt. It is over here, and we can see that this is the content of this particular file, myfile.txt. Here we are opening that file. This statement will read the content and will store in variable data. And here we are printing that particular content and then finally closing the file. Now let us run this particular program, and here we can see that the output is same, means whatever we have stored in this particular file. Now say for example, if I change this name to say Chetan Makwana, fine, and now let us run this program again. So here right now the name is Dr. Ramji Makwana, but now I have changed this name to Dr. Chetan Makwana. So now let us run it again. Now we can see that now the data is changed, Chetan Makwana. We have changed this content manually, but we can update this content through Python program also. But this was just to demonstrate that we are reading from the same file that we have stored in this particular folder. We have stored this file in current directory itself. So this is all about the file handling. In this video, we have seen what is file handling, why we need file handling, types of files, types of operations on file, how does file handling works, and file handling example. Here we are ending this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great time.